When you hear the word metro, you might think of the populous cities with large metro networks such as London, Paris, Berlin, Tokyo, or even Beijing. But did you know that one of the most efficient metro/subway/MRT networks in the world is located right at the heart of Southeast Asia? And yep, you guessed it, it's in Singapore. In this video, I will be ranking all of the Singapore MRT lines that I've taken during my time in Singapore back in December 2025. Now, the rankings will be purely based on my experience on the Singapore MRT in 2025. And since this is only my opinion, you are free to disagree and write your own opinion in the comments, but make sure to be respectful when doing so. We will be ranking all 6 MRT lines that are currently in operation, not including the LRT lines or any MRT lines that are planned or are currently under construction. That out of the way, let's get started.
Please mind the gap. 请小心空隙. Berhati-hati di ruang platform. தயவு செய்து தளமேடை இடைவெளியை கவனத்தில் கொள்ளுங்கள்.
The first line we'll be ranking is the North-South line, the first ever MRT line in Singapore which opened in 1987. This line currently runs from Marina South Pier to Jurong East via Toa Payoh, Woodlands and Choa Chu Kang. This line mainly uses C151Bs, which are the older trains, and R151s, which are the newer trains. The line itself is quite useful if you want to head from the city center to the suburbs or vice versa. It's usually not too crowded during off-peak hours, which makes it a very pleasant and comfortable ride. However, during the peak hours, you may experience some crowding. It shouldn't be too much of a problem as there should be enough space for you. Trust me, there's another MRT line that has a severely worse crowding problem. My final verdict for the North-South line? A tier. It's comfortable, it's efficient, and a great line overall. Although I suggest to LTA to roll out more of the newer trains onto the North-South line, as the older trains aren't exactly my preference, as they have quite weak AC and can get quite hot sometimes, and also perhaps to increase frequencies during peak hours of up to 1 train every 2 or 3 minutes. Remember when I said there's a line that has a much worse overcrowding problem? Well, here you go. That would be the East-West line. The first segment of this line opened in 1987 and now it currently runs from Pasir Ris all the way to Tuas Link with a Changi Airport branch from Tanah Merah to Changi Airport via Expo. As of 2025 and 2026, the East-West line uses the R151 trains, which is excellent. I mean, you wouldn't want to be stuck in a crowded and sweltering hot C151B now, would you? The answer would be no for most people. The East-West line is extremely crowded, both during peak hours and off-peak hours, comparable to the levels of crowdedness on Hong Kong MTR East Rail line. Luckily, LTA are already onto this problem with the construction of the Cross Island line, set to be finished in the mid-2030s. In the meantime, the LTA should increase the off-peak frequencies to every 4 to 5 minutes, while the on-peak frequencies remain 2 to 3 minutes. This is for the short term. So, the East-West line will be ranked into C tier. It works, it's useful, but there are some aspects that need to be improved. Next up, we have the Circle line, which opened between 2009 and 2012. The line isn't a full circle yet, however, the final phase is under construction and is set to open in late 2026, making the Circle line finally a full circle. Currently, the line runs from Harbourfront to Dhoby Ghaut or Marina Bay via Buona Vista, Bishan and Paya Lebar. The Circle line uses 3-car C830 trains as of 2025 and 2026. It's quite a surprise to me that LTA decided to use 3-car trains on this line, considering that the Circle line serves Singapore's largest stadium, the National Stadium, and also many other attractions such as the Harbourfront VivoCity and Sentosa, as well as the Botanical Gardens. Most Circle lines around the world tend to experience severe crowding, such as the Yamanote line or the Circle line on the London Underground, which is why I express this as a concern. And also considering the tunnelling works near Paya Lebar, which have trains running every 10 minutes. However, the tunnelling works should be finished by mid-2026. Personally, I've never experienced any crowding on the Circle Line myself. However, I do know that for a fact that it does get crowded during peak hours and when major events near Sentosa or the National Stadium are happening. Perhaps LTA can increase the peak hour frequencies and to speed up the tunneling works near Paya Lebar so commuters can get the best experience out of the Circle Line without any disruptions. My final verdict, the Circle Line will be getting B tier. You may not know this, but the first driverless metro train in the entire world was on Singapore's North-East Line, opened in 2003 and currently runs from Harbourfront to Punggol Coast. The North-East Line uses C751 trains and C851 trains, which look similar to those on the Circle Line, but the only difference being that the North-East Line trains run in a 6-car formation. Unlike the other lines, the North-East Line is actually operated by SBS Transit rather than SMRT. SBS Transit operates 2 out of the 6 MRT lines in Singapore. The North-East Line is quite useful if you want to head from the south of Singapore to the northeastern areas of Singapore or vice versa. The line is usually not very crowded, which is a big W. However, here comes the bad part. North-East Line trains have very harsh braking and acceleration. Weirdly, this issue is not present on the C830s on the Circle Line. This is actually a very serious and dangerous issue as it can risk the safety of passengers. I have heard and seen many people fall down onto the floor of the train just because the braking and acceleration is harsh. When I took the North-East Line in 2018, the harsh braking actually made one of my belongings topple over and it was damaged severely. Fast forward to 2025, my second time in Singapore, and I found out that it was still the same case on the North-East Line after all these years. I'm sorry North-East Line, you're a very efficient and useful line and all, but your braking and acceleration actually endangers people. So until this issue can be resolved, the North-East Line will be getting into D tier. Up next, we have one of my personal favorite lines on the Singapore MRT, the Downtown Line. The Downtown Line first opened in 2013 and currently runs from Bukit Panjang all the way to Expo, making a loop in the downtown area. This line uses the C951 trains, which in my opinion stands out from the other trains because it looks like what you'd find in a European metro system, not what you find in an Asian metro system. C951 is very spacious and runs in a 4-car formation on the Downtown Line. As for the route itself, it's quite convenient if you're making a long trip from a suburb to another suburb or a short trip from the city centre to another city centre station. However, if you're going on the full line, it may not be the most convenient, as you would have to ride through the full city centre loop, wasting at least 3 to 5 minutes. And you can't even get off at the station just before the loop, aka Rochor, because the Downtown Line does not connect to itself. You'd have to walk from Rochor to Jalan Besar. Still on the topic of missed connections, the Downtown Line actually runs very close to Dhoby Ghaut, yet it's not connected to Dhoby Ghaut. In my opinion, this was a huge missed potential, as Dhoby Ghaut could have been the Grand Central Station of Singapore. Similar to the North-East Line, the Downtown Line unfortunately also has problems regarding harsh braking and acceleration. Thankfully, it's not as bad. Oh boy, what is with SBS Transit and their harsh braking? Despite this line being my favorite line, unfortunately the Downtown Line will be going to B tier as it's not good enough for A tier. It gets the job done, but there are some aspects that need to be improved. And with the future extension to Sungai Bedok, hopefully these issues should be fixed. The last line to be ranked is the rather new Thomson East-Coast Line, which started operations in 2020. The line runs from Woodlands North, which is soon to be connected to the RTS link, going through the Thomson area, the downtown area, and all the way to the East Coast at Bayshore Station. It is currently being extended to Sungai Bedok and Changi Airport Terminal 5 to connect to the Downtown Line and the future Cross Island Line. The Thomson East-Coast Line uses brand new T251 trains which are very comfortable and spacious. Unlike the other trains on the Singapore MRT, the T251 trains have 5 doors per side per carriage. I suppose it's to decrease dwelling times at stations, however it means there will be less seats. Either way, the Thomson East-Coast Line is a very great line. The trains are very clean, spacious and comfortable. The route is efficient and soon to be extended, as I've mentioned before, and the stations look absolutely stunning. So for that, I'll give the Thomson East-Coast Line an S tier. Congratulations for making it this far into the video. Well, I hope this video has been helpful to you, whether it be you're visiting Singapore soon or you're just a train nerd. Either way, thank you for watching. If you wish to continue supporting me, consider giving this video a like or perhaps subscribing to my channel, as it would help out a lot. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Goodbye.